anyway, that this is her second retreat up there, and so she just arrived last night. Okay, so let's get started. So today, we're gonna be a little bit less in the serious stuff, and we're gonna be talking about the Petas and the hungry ghosts. And we're going to talk about a little bit about the heavenly mansions and the Devas and what they did what merit that they did to get there. Uh, Karma is actually Delson just did a talk on karma, uh, was the night before last. And the name of the talk is Misperceptions About Karma. Everybody has their ideas about what karma is and what it isn't and how it works and what's the result. And it turns out that during the time of the Buddha, you had your two chief disciples. One was Sariputta and one was Moggallana, Moggallana. Moggallana had all the psychic powers. Uh, he had everything you can imagine. He he could tell you anything that you want to know. He had a real interest in karma as well. He would go into other realms and to see beings in those realms and find out how they got there. What was the cause of them being reborn in that realm? And it is said that when you die, you do remember what you've done in the past. You don't forget, like when you come into a human birth, you don't know anything. But in the other realms, you die and you go, oh, here I am. Here I am in this realm. And you do remember what you did. And so Moggallana would jump up and down into the hells, into the heavens, and he would just walk through and he would just enjoy the place and ask people, how did you get here? What was the cause of you arriving here? And one of those realms is the Peta realm, the hungry ghost realm. We'll get into what that is shortly. But this is an entire book called the Petavatu, or the book about the Petas, is was written, and it's translated by the Polytext Society, and we have copies here. It's kind of hard to get it, but you can get it from Polytext Society, and it's all the stories about the hungry ghosts. We'll be talking about a few of those stories today. All right, so I think we can officially get started here. Um, let me share the screen here. Okay, so I did a little bit of research on the Petas just to kind of get prepared here. And of course, I go into Google Chrome and search a little bit about the Petas, and the AI gives me a whole history of and description of what it's all about. So that is actually this description here. This is the book. This is a polytext book, which we have, which is kind of fun to read. Uh, but what I did with this is I created a video. Um, I let AI create a video from this description. So we're going to watch that now. If I can figure out how to do it. Let's see. I'm going to, where's my share? Actually, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you some YouTube channels here you might not be aware of. So this is Delson's YouTube channel that I run, Talks by Delson. The retreat talks that we've been putting up are all here. And so if you look for Talks by Delson Armstrong, you should be able to find this YouTube channel. And like here's day 6 Karma. This is him out at St. Francis. Poor guy was sick. He flew all the way over from India, and on the way he caught a little mild COVID. And but he did the retreat anyway. It's funny because the first two talks he had to give were from his room on Zoom. So he had people there at the retreat, and he flew to the retreat, and he still was on Zoom for 2 days. And then finally he came out and he did the talks in person. But they're very good talks. We've gotten a lot of good comments about them. So it's called the Gates of Liberation retreat. And the talks that are available are here. The first couple of days are not. Then there's just the last talk for today that's going to go up. So you can watch all of those at your leisure. I've started a channel calling it the TWIM Info channel. And what this is it's a bunch of AI videos, also edited, not just totally AI, but I've taken some subjects that we talk about here. For example, exploring the jhanas. This was created from a jhana chart that I had, and it just created this wonderful video. These are all very short, 4 minutes. This is actually 12 minutes, 3 minutes. A video about Bhante, just a lot of what does the word mindfulness really mean. This is a great one. This was a PowerPoint presentation that was made into a video by Pictory AI, which I took Nat Heidler's PowerPoint presentation and made it into a video. This is really great. It gives you all the basics of TWIM. So if you have a chance, take a look at this channel. It's really good. I'll maybe put this in the chat here. Let's see if I can find the chat. Here we go. That's a good one. I think you'll learn a lot of stuff about TWIM and various things. I'm going to try to do things about the councils, do a lot of different subjects, short and sweet. Get the information. You don't have to spend hours getting it. So let's go back. Okay, so those are video channels that are out there, and let's go back and watch the okay. All right, can everybody see? Somebody just give me a yeah, I can see it or something. And hear it.
The Peta.
Everybody can hear this? Somebody unmute and say yes.
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 Good.
I can hear you. I don't hear the video.
Okay, how about this?
Pali for stories of the hungry ghosts.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Here we go on the Petavatu.
Petavatu, Pali for stories of the hungry ghosts, is a canonical Buddhist text, part of the Khuddaka Nikaya, collection of minor texts, in the Sutta Pitaka of the Pali Canon. In Buddhist tradition, Peta, or Petas, refers to beings who are tormented by insatiable desires and are often known as hungry ghosts. They are considered one of the 4 lowest realms of existence, known as the Apaya realms, which include the plane of immense suffering, Niraya, the plane of animals, Tirakana Yoni, the plane of hungry ghosts, Pita Loka, and the plane of demons and titans, Asura Loka. These beings are described as having large, emaciated bodies with tiny mouths and throats, making it impossible for them to consume enough to satisfy their hunger, symbolizing their unquenchable craving. The Petavatu, a collection of 51 stories within the Pali Canon's Khuddaka Nikaya, details the experiences of specific hungry ghosts and their past misdeeds that led to their rebirth in this realm. These stories are presented in verse form, preceded by prose narratives, and were often recounted by the Buddha in response to questions posed by his disciples, particularly Arahant Mahamoggallana. The narratives reveal that hungry ghosts can recall their past unwholesome actions and suffer accordingly, with their torment stemming from karmic consequences of greed, envy, and other negative actions in previous lives. Hungry ghosts are believed to wander the earth, invisible to most humans, and are often associated with places from their former lives. They do not have a permanent physical plane of their own, and are sometimes seen as a transitional state between human existence and the hell realm. While they cannot receive direct offerings from humans, the practice of transferring merit through religious acts, especially those performed by monks, can benefit these beings as the monks act as intermediaries. This practice is rooted in the idea that merit-making by the living can alleviate the suffering of deceased relatives reborn as hungry ghosts. The term Peta can also refer broadly to any being who has passed away, but in the context of the Petavatu, it specifically denotes those reborn in the hungry ghost realm due to unwholesome karma. There are also variations such as Vimanika Peta, who experience alternating periods of happiness and suffering, and are described as having their own castles and enjoying angelic-like states for a time before falling back into torment. The stories of the Petavatu serve as a moral reminder of the law of karma and the importance of ethical conduct and merit-making.
Okay, see, sweet and short. There you go. That's what the Petas are about. And so now what we'll do is we'll take a look at some of the stories that are in the Petavatu, which were stories that Moggallana came back and recounted. All right, first one, the pig-headed ghost. While the teacher, Lord Buddha, was staying at the Squirrel's Grove in Veluvana Monastery in Rajagaha, he told this story of the pig-headed ghost. Once upon a time, in the times of earlier Lord Kassapa, an earlier Buddha, so this is an earlier Buddha, a monk subdued his body from sins, but due to lacking restraint in speech, abused monks. After death, he was reborn in hell. After he had roasted there, I love that, roasted there for one Buddha interval, and this is the time between a Buddha arising and the next Buddha arising, which is very, very long. He left and was reborn in the present Buddha period near Rajagaha, at the foot of the Vulture Peak. As a result of that very offense, he was afflicted with hunger and thirst. His body was gold-colored, however, but his mouth was like that of a pig. So here, this is a monk, but he abused monks. But still, he was a monk, and he did some things that were good. At that time, Venerable Elder Monk Narada was staying at Vulture Peak. I've been to Vulture Peak. It's a very high peak. Was there last year. We couldn't even get up there. I went with Delson and Kirsten. There is so much traffic in there, so many tourists that it's almost impossible to get up there during January and December when the Dalai Lama visits. There's actually a chairlift that goes up and down. You can walk up, and on the way up, there are caves in the mountain, and you can go inside. And this is where, let's see, Moggallana and Sariputta actually hung out in these caves. And you can get to the very top. And I didn't get to the top this time, but last time there were some Brahmins at the top, and you could get a flower necklace, and for that you could give them a donation a rather generous donation is what they expected. It's kind of a kind of a way for them to make money. But it's a beautiful view, and then you can go back down on the chairlift. With bowl and robe, he set out very early in the morning for alms. On his way to Rajagaha city, he saw the Peta, the ghost, on the road. In asking him about the deed he had done, he spoke the following stanza. Your body golden all over, illuminating all regions, but your mouth is simply that of a pig. What deed have you done in previous lives? In my body I was subdued. In my speech I was not restrained. This is the ghost talking. Therefore I have such an appearance as you see, Narada. So I guess this is another monk that is talking about these Petas. The Peta also gave the elder this advice. So Narada, I myself tell you this which you see for yourself. Do not commit evil with your mouth, else indeed you become one with pig mouth. Then the venerable Narada, having made his round for alms in Rajagaha, returned from collecting alms and told this incident to the teacher. Buddha told him that he also had seen the Peta earlier and used this story for teaching Dhamma. I know somebody who's got Petas in their closet. Petas are in this world with us, and some meditators have very psychic minds and some psychic abilities, and occasionally see them flying around through the air. And there's many stories of them flying through the air, being chased by other beings. Um, so anyway, here is and the guy with the Petas in his closet, which is interesting. He tell them, "Hey, go for the light. You don't have to stay here because they are worried about what's going on, and sometimes you can have them see what's going on and travel to the light." And he would send them metta, and he would share merit, his merit with them. And sometimes they would just disappear from his from his place. So this is a ghost with rotten mouth. While the teacher, the Buddha, was staying at the squirrel sanctuary, he told this story. Once upon a time, in the days of Lord Kassapa, two men of good family under his instruction left the worldly life, abounding in the practice of morality and living with austere penance. They lived harmoniously at a certain settlement in a village. Then a certain monk of evil disposition, who found delight in slander, came to their abode. The elders received him kindly, and on the second day went with him to collect alms. The people who were rendering the elders the highest possible obedience and serving them with rice gruel, boiled rice, and other foods. And he thought, nice is this village, a resort for alms, and the people endowed with faith give savory food. Here is shade, too, and water. One can live happily here, but not as long as these monks are dwelling in the same place. So this monk, he sees that this is a wonderful place, but all these elders and these other monks, maybe they create too much trouble, and he'd like to have it for himself. Well, then, I shall so act as to do for them so that they come not again to stay here. The English is a little bit strange because of the translations. But he's going to act and do some things to drive them out. And he slandered them, the one to the other. They both became gradually suspicious and thought, it may, after all, be so, and lost trust, and avoided each other, and soon, without telling each other, each went to a pleasanter place. So he said, hey, this monk said this about you, and that monk said that about you. And so he spread all these lies around, and the monks thought the other monks were talking about them, and they thought, geez, maybe I should get out of here. And he got them out of there. The people asked the slanderous monk, these are the people who are giving alms, Reverend Sir, where are the elders gone? He replied, all night they were quarreling with each other. They went out and left without heeding my words. As I said, do not quarrel, be harmonious. And among other things, I added, those who are such are only happy with big fight. Then the people said, just let the elders go for our sake. See, he'd convinced them that these elders were no good as well. However, you stay here and have no regrets. He agreed, saying, all right. While dwelling there, he considered after a few days, through greed for a dwelling, I made these monks leave. Alas, I have done evil. Because he wanted to stay there and he wanted that dwelling for himself and that place and those alms and these people, and he drove them away. And now he's realized he's made a mistake. Overcome by deep regret, having fallen ill in a short time, he died and was reborn in Avicii hell. The Avicii hell is the lowest hell that there is. This is uh, a a place of burning with 4 metal walls, and the floor is white hot, and all of the walls are hot. And every thousands of years, there's a door in each of the walls, and the door starts to open, and beings there run for the door, and then the door closes on them, and they're back right where they started. And this will go on for a long time. Not a good place. Later, he was born in this Buddha period, not far from Rajagahar, as a Peta with a rotten mouth. But his body was gold-colored, but worms coming out here and there from his mouth were devouring it, as it emitted a foul smell. Then the venerable Narada, coming from Vulture's Mount, saw him and asked him in this stanza about his deeds, you have a beautiful heavenly complexion, floating. You are standing in the air. He's a ghost, he's a Peta. Yet worms are devouring your mouth, and there's a foul smell. What acts did you do in the past? And the Peta replied, as a monk, I was but wicked and of ill speech. Though I lived in austerity, I did not control my speech. So I obtained my complexion from austerity, but due to ill speech, I received a rotten mouth. Now this has been seen by yourself, Narada. They who are compassionate and virtuous would say, do not backbite, nor speak falsely. Then you can become a yaka or an angel, but of lesser degree, enjoying as you will. So this, you can become a Deva, in other words, but not a huge, great Deva, as if your speech is pleasant. Uh, you certainly won't become a Peta. You may become, a pleasant, a lower angel, maybe in the realm of the 4 kings. So that's obviously it wasn't just being a Peta. He suffered a long time in the Avicii hell. This is called the biscuit doll. I love the name of this. While the Buddha was staying at Savatthi in Jetavana Grove, he told this incident. A nurse had given Anathapindika, a rich man and a lay follower of the Buddha, granddaughter, a biscuit doll as a plaything. The child let it fall one day and it broke. She cried out, my daughter is dead, and wept. And this is a doll that broke. And none of the servants could pacify her. Now, at that time, the Lord Buddha was in the home of the householder, Anathapindika, who was seated near him. The nurse took the child and went to the rich man, who said, why is this girl crying? Took her on his lap and then made her happy by saying, I will give you another gift. Anathapindika then said to the Lord Buddha, Reverend Sir, for the sake of my granddaughter, on account of the biscuit doll only, I am anxious to bestow a gift. Therefore consent to come tomorrow to my house with 500 monks. Lord Buddha agreed. Accordingly, the Lord Buddha came, and after the meal he gave thanks and spoke these words. With whatever concern the liberal one should give a gift to the forefathers and the departed, or also to the deity gods, and to the four great kings, the celestial guardians of the world. With this they are worshipped, and the givers are not without reward. Now, you'll understand this a little bit later here. For mere weeping and grief, or any other lamentation is of no avail. All this is of no help to Petas. Such a practice have the kinsmen. But indeed this gift given to the Sangha the monks' order, is well acknowledged, with immediate effect, serves a long time for the benefit of the departed and the Petas, and is well rewarded. Thus, Lord Buddha taught the practice of appeasing Petas and departed with the donations and then left. The rich man's wife and his relatives too followed his example. Thus they have great gifts for a month. Then King Pasenadi of Kosala, hearing this, also presented bounteous gifts to the assembly. When the citizens saw this, they in turn did as the king for a whole month and practiced great giving, a great generosity, which has as its origin in the humble biscuit doll. So this it goes from a broken biscuit doll to giving gifts to benefit the departed. It's quite a segue here, but in any case, some of you may have been here when when people will buy lunch and they offer the lunch, and Bhante or Bhante Kusala or a monk who's here will then share the merit of that gift with their departed relatives. People will say, "Oh, can you share merit with my departed father or my mother or whatever relatives that have died, and may this benefit them?" And of course, who knows? They might be a Peta, they might be in heaven, they might be in who knows where these people are. But just in case, um, when you offer a gift to the Sangha and the Sangha says, okay, I share that merit with that person, something happens and they get great benefit. And that Peta can get water, and all of a sudden he can drink, and there can be food, and there's clothes that most of them walk around naked. And all of a sudden they have everything that they could want. And this next thing from Tanasero Bhikkhu shows you. Let's see here. Where do we go? There. So this is sharing merit, parted ones. So Tiro Kudo Kanda, hungry ghosts outside the walls. This is a kind of a, well, quote, famous verse about this story where the Buddha visits this place, and he sees these Petas, and they're naked, and they're thirsty, and nobody else can see them, but he sees them, and he knows that if people share merit with these beings, that they'll get everything that they need. And this is a verse about that. Outside the walls they stand, and at crossroads. At doorposts they stand, returning to their old homes. The Petas like to hang out. You know, these are ghosts. They like to hang out where they used to be. But when a meal with plentiful food and drink is served, no one remembers them. Such is the karma of living beings. They can see everything that's happening, They hang out. They watch people eat their Thanksgiving meals, and they have nothing, and they suffer. Thus, those who feel sympathy for their dead relatives give timely donations of proper food and drink, exquisite, clean, thinking, may this be for our relatives. May our relatives be happy. So this is giving donations really to the monks, giving alms and asking them to share that merit with their relatives. And those who have gathered there, the assembled shades of the relatives, the ghosts, the departed ones of the relatives, they're also called shades, with appreciation give their blessing for the plentiful food and drink. May our relatives live long, because of whom we have gained this gift. We have been honored, and the donors are not without reward. So the donors are not without reward. So everybody has benefit here. For in their realm, there's no farming, there's no herding of cattle, there's no commerce, there's no trading with money. They can't buy anything. They can't work. They can't do anything. They're stuck. They live on what is given here, the hungry shades whose time here is done. As water raining on a hill flows down to the valley, even so does what is given here benefit the dead. As rivers full of water fill the ocean full, even so does what is given here benefit the dead. He gave to me, she acted on my behalf. They were my relatives, companions, friends. Offerings should be given for the dead when one reflects thus on things done in the past. For no weeping, no sorrowing, no other lamentation benefits the dead. So this is very important right here. There, if you weep and you're sorrowful and you have all this grief and you lament, it doesn't benefit the dead departed relative or the dead friend or whoever. They don't get anything from that. So what's the point of it? But when this offering is given, well placed in the Sangha, it works for their long-term benefit and they profit immediately. So if you want to benefit your departed relatives, then offer food to the Sangha and have them share it. When Bhante Kusala is here, we do that, and people can offer lunch or offer food, and then we'll wait and give that to him and give the names of the people, and he can share that. In this way, the proper duty to relatives has been shown. Great honor has been done to the dead, and monks have given strength. The merit you've acquired isn't small. So even the merit for you to offer to them, you acquire merit yourself because you're helping them, and this is an act of generosity. And it's usually what you do is Bhante Vimlaramsi would suggest that on the day that your relative passed away, the day that he or she died, that would be the day to remember that person and give food on that day. So that's a tradition. So now we're going to go into a few other stories, and then we will talk about more positive and uplifting the Devas. Now, this is the devourer of 5 children. While the teacher was staying at Savatthi, he told this story. In a village not far from Savatthi, a certain landowner's wife was barren. His relatives said, "Let us get you another girl." He was unwilling out of affection for his wife. Then when his wife heard of this, so his wife couldn't bear children, so they said, well, we'll just get some other girl to help with this. So it's like, okay. He was unwilling out of affection for his wife. He didn't want to do that. Then when his wife heard of this, she urged her husband to marry again and not cut off his lineage. But when the new wife was with child, the barren wife, who was overcome by envy, satisfied with food and drink a certain person, and employed him to bring about abortion. The abortion is something that happens back then, just like it happens today. They knew about it, and they've had ways to do it with herbs and chemicals and various things. The second wife told her mother, who summoned her relatives, and they spoke thus to the barren wife: "You have caused the death of her unborn child." "I am not guilty," the relatives said. "If you are not, take an oath." So she says, "No, I didn't do it. Not me. I didn't do it. Just the child died." But they knew she did. So the relatives said, "If you're not guilty, take an oath." She took the oath that if she was guilty, she would become a Peti, a female ghost, naked and ugly in form, with ill-smelling and rotten odor from breath. Covered with flies, at daybreak she would give birth to 5 sons, but she would devour all of them, and same in the evening. So she took an oath and said, if I'm lying, then I will become a female ghost with all of these things happening. Well, not long afterwards, she died and was reborn, not far from that same town as an ill-favored Peti. At that time, 8 elder monks who were spending the rainy season, the Vasa, in the province, were going to Savatthi to see the teacher. They came to a place in the forest supplied with shade and water, not far from this same village. Then that Peti appeared to the elders, of whom one asked her. Some of the elders, of course, had psychic powers, and they were able to see the ghosts. One of the elders, whom one asked her, "You are naked and ugly in form. An ill-smelling and rotten odor you breathe out. You're covered with flies. Now who are you that you are standing here?" And the Peti said, "I, venerable sir, am a Peti, a wretched denizen of Yama's world." Yama is like king of the dead. "Since I have done a wicked deed, I went hence to the Peta world. At daybreak I give birth to 5 sons, in the evening again to 5 others, all of whom I devour. Even these are not enough for me. My heart is scorched and smokes with hunger. I get no water to drink. Behold the misfortune come to me." When the elder had heard this, he asked her, "Now what wicked deed was done by body, speech, and mind? In retribution of what offense do you devour the flesh of your sons?" Then the Peti told the elder what she had done. "The other wife of my husband was with child, and I planned evil against her. I myself, with a corrupt intention, caused the abortion of her unborn child. When the fetus was 2 months old, blood flowed forth. Then her mother, in anger, brought her relatives to me, and she both administered an oath to me and had me reviled. I even took the terrible oath falsely, 'May I eat the flesh of children if it was done by me.' In consequence of both the deed of abortion and the lie, I devour the flesh of children, stained with the blood of the past." The elders, moved with compassion for her, went to the house of that landlord and had him transfer to the Peti the virtue of the alms gift which he made them. All at once, so he shared merit with this Peti. All at once the Peti, freed from her misery, obtained great blessedness and showed herself in a vision during the night to her husband. Then the elders in due time came to Savatthi and told the matter to the Lord Buddha, who then taught them the Dhamma in that matter. So this is, again, she made this oath, and she did lie, and she was reborn a ghost with all of these things, and she ate her children. And there's another one of 7 children. So we're going to move on. There's all these stories here, but I can see our time's running a little bit short. So we're going to go on to the next section. Okay. This is one where This is one where somebody is, some monk pounds on the heads of some monks with a hammer, and then they're reborn, being pounded on the head with hammers in the Petta world. Okay, so let's see. Now, we've already talked about sharing merit. Okay, we're going to talk about the heavenly mansions. Looks like this needs to be made bigger. All right, so there's another book called the Vimana Vatu, and Vimanta is mansion, and these are the heavenly mansions. Just in the same way, the stories of ghosts, these are the stories of the Devas, of the people who have made merit, and they reside in these wonderful mansions and estates, if you will. This one's called the First Seat Mansion, and again, we find out how they got there. When the Bhagava, Lord Buddha, was dwelling at Savatthi in Jetavana, in the monastery of Anathapindika, after King Pasenadi of Kosala had given for 7 days the unparalleled almsgiving for the order of monks with the Buddha at its head. So you can see here, it says again, when you give a gift, you give it to the order with the Buddha at its head. And at that time, it was really there. But when we give gifts, in our minds, we should be giving it to the entire order of monks and nuns with the Buddha at its head, and this is of the highest merit. And Anathapindika, the great banker, had given alms for 3 days to conform to the king's gift, and the great laywoman, follower of Visakha, had given great alms likewise. So everybody's giving. News of the unparalleled almsgiving. So this is like, an almsgiving event that's just unparalleled. It's just everybody is giving. Became known all over Jambudvipa. This is the historical name for India, Jambudvipa. Then people everywhere raised the question, does almsgiving become especially productive of great results only when it is liberality of such a magnificent sort as this? Or is it rather when it is liberality in accordance with one's means? So in other words, do you have to give like $1 million or, I can't afford that. What about $100? When the monks heard of this discussion, they told the Lord Buddha. The Buddha said, not merely by giving rightful donation become especially productive of great result, but rather through the gladness of the mind of the giver, and also due to qualification, advancement of the alms taker. Therefore, even so little as a handful or rice bean or a piece of rag, this is for robes, or a spread of grass, so the monk can sit there, or leaves of a gall nut in decomposing cattle, urine, this is medicine, bestowed with a devout heart upon a person who is worthy of receiving a gift of devotion will be of great result, or great splendor, and of great expanse. And as we talked about last week, when you give, there's the 3 ways of giving that makes for a totally successful gift, and that means you're glad you're thinking about giving it, you're glad while you are giving it, and when you reflect on it, you are glad that you gave it. It's important to not get into, well, I didn't give it. It wasn't me. It's not, I want to be anonymous. It doesn't, no, forget that. You are happy, you are pleased that you gave the gift, and it's okay for you to celebrate that gift and be happy about it and reflect on it, because these are wholesome states of mind. Why would you regret or beat yourself up or not try to take advantage, say the gifts from somebody else and not take credit for it? It's okay. It's a good thing. For if the mind has happiness, there is no gift of devotion that may be called insignificant. So any gift with happiness is significant. Bestowed upon the so any gift of devotion that may be called insignificant, bestowed upon the Buddha, the holy enlightened, or upon a disciple of the Buddha. Now, this story became widely known throughout India. People gave alms according to their means to monks and Brahmins, to a tramp, perhaps to a homeless person, wayfarer, and the destitute. They provided drinking water in their courtyards. They placed seats in the gateways. At that time, a certain elder monk, perfect in deportment, arrived on his alms round at due time at a certain house. There a pious woman of a good household welcomed him in, greeted him with reverence, and spreading an ironed yellow cloth on her seat, offered it to him. She offered the cloth, serving him with such food as she could afford, and fanning him, having a mind of joy. She thought, there has arisen a field of highest merit for me. When the elder had eaten his meal, he talked a talk on Dhamma, about the giving donation of chair and food and so on, and left. As the woman thought about her alms and the talk on the Dhamma, she was at once thrilled with happiness, and she gave the elder the seat also. So she just gave him the chair he was sitting on too. Sometime afterwards, who died of an illness, this is really she who died of an illness and was reborn in the realm of the 33, it's a heavenly realm, in a 12 yojana golden mansion. A yojana is about 12 miles or 8 miles, depending on what you read. So this is a very big mansion. And she had a retinue, attendance group, of 1,000 nymphs. And because of her gift of seat, there arose for her a golden divan, a yojana in extent, one that traveled swiftly through the sky, resembling a pinnacled house at the top. How'd you like to have a sofa that's 12 miles long that just travels through the sky? So this is called a seat mansion. Because the seat was given with a golden colored cloth spread over it, the mansion was golden, demonstrating the similarity between an act and its consequence. This shows what you give, you get back. Because the chair was given with a powerful impulse of joy, the mansion was very swift, fast. The gift was given to the satisfaction of one who was worthy of receiving it. The mansion could move at will according to one's pleasure. Because of the efficiency of the woman's joyful faith, the mansion was splendid and bright. So a point here was the gift was given to the satisfaction of one who was worthy of receiving it. So the more moral and higher worth of the person that you give something to, the higher merit that you make, the higher the better the result that you make. But even as we talked about last week, even giving to an animal, makes merit. But if you're giving to somebody who's a monk and who's attained and all of these, then this is of huge merit. So it's the joy of giving and also who you are giving it to. These are the 6 ways of successful gift. Now, on a festival day when the Devas were going, each by means of the form or Deva-like power, which was his or her own, to the Nandana grove for amusement in the pleasure garden, that Devi, this female angel, set out dressed in Deva garments and ornaments, attended by 1,000 nymphs, and went in the seat mansion to the pleasure garden with great power. It says pleasance, but surely should be pleasure. And at that time, the venerable elder monk Mahamoggalana, traveling about on a Deva tour, this he does his Deva tours, arrived in the realm of the 33 and showed himself near the Devata, the angel. When she saw him, with great joy and reverence, she descended quickly from the divan, went up to the elder, prostrated herself with the fivefold veneration, and stood paying homage to him with clasped hands raised. The 10 fingertips pressed together, even though the elder monk, by means of the diversity of the power of his wisdom, saw clearly for himself, as though seeing a myrobalan fruit placed upon the palm of his hand, the good and the bad deeds that had been accumulated by her as well as by other beings on account of the power of his knowledge of corresponding results of deeds. Nevertheless, since immediately upon their rebirth, devatas say, from where have I deceased and am reborn in this world? What good deed did I do to receive this success? And since, as a general rule, they arrive at a correct conclusion, therefore the elder, wanting to make clear the result of the deed to the world with the devas, made his devi tell about the deed she had done and spoke the words that follow. So he's trying to get her to explain what she did to be in this heavenly world. And this is for teaching the other people that were in attendance there. And he can see immediately, he knew exactly what she did. Your seat, made of gold, splendid, goes at your will with the speed of thought. You are adorned, wearing garlands of flowers in lovely dress. You are shining like lightning on the cloud caps. Because of what is your beauty such? Because of what do you prosper here, and there arise whatever those delights that are dear to your heart? I ask you, Devi, of great majesty, what merit did you perform when you were reborn as a human being? Because of what is your brilliant majesty thus, and your beauty illumines all the quarters, all the directions? That angel, delighted at being questioned by Moggallana, when asked the question, explained what deed this was the result. When I was born a human being among men, I gave a little chair to a visitor, saluted him respectfully, raised my clasped hands, and gave the gift according to my means. She gave him a chair. Because of this is my beauty such. Because of this do I prosper here, and there arise whatever are those delights that are dear to my heart. She gets whatever she wants. I make known to you, monk of great majesty, what merit I perform when I was born a human being. Because of this, my brilliant majesty thus, and my beauty illumines all the quarters and the directions. So her small gift, given with a joyful heart, has led to this great merit and these great results. So that's we're already on the hour now. So this is just to give you an example of doing good and where it can lead to here. So I'll stop there. If I read any more, I'll probably start stumbling all over the words. Does anybody have any comments or questions about any of this?
Hey, David, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, I have a question, David. So it's kind of an elephant in the room question, right? When we say you or he or she is reborn in such place, since, as we all know and we see during meditation, all the aggregate are impermanent, what is actually this you that gets reborn?
Well, that's
that's
one of the most common questions that comes up. And it's a great question because it's, what is reborn? Well, it's the aggregates that are reborn. I mean, this is, maybe perhaps you go and listen to Delson's talk and he gets into explaining this and the karmic energy that happens. But I was thinking about this the other day is that when you give a gift, you make an intention in your mind to do something, and you create this image of the thing that you're about to do. Now, giving the gift is like some physical thing, but what's happened in your mind is you've created this energy. And this energy, let's say you're giving a gift to a monk. This energy has the nature of joy in it. And so that it can result, maybe, I mean, there's so many things that you do in your life, but it could result in you being reborn in a heavenly realm because of that joy. Because in that realm is where they experience that joy. But if, on the other hand, you steal something from somebody and you have an evil state in your mind, you know what you're going to do, but you know that it's bad. You're going to take somebody's thing. Then that leads to a rebirth in a place where that mind of regret and guilt manifests. So you're creating your rebirth right at the moment of your action. Now, how all of that arises, I don't think anybody can really say, but it is the mind. The mind is the forerunner of all states, and it is the intention behind something that causes the karmic results, and um, it's important that you look at it in terms of the mind that is creating your future karma and the future arising of the body and all of the pieces and all of this from that. So that's all I can say about it. There's no books on how it all works. You just have to kind of figure it out.
Can I also share an analogy? I obviously asked this question myself. And that's the analogy I have, which is more or less what you said, just more an analogy. It's almost like a person goes to take a trip with the plane and check in his luggage. His luggage is basically his karma, his deeds, his action, his intention. And then it disappears from there. The plane goes and someone else, so other aggregate, pick up that luggage and move on with that. So in essence, what is transfer between one being and the reborn being is basically the action that the previous being has done. And then from there, they move on. Is actually you check in at the airport, what you check in is basically all your action, your intention, your deed, and the next being pick up from there. I just wonder what you think about this analogy, Dave?
Okay, it kind of works. The lighting of the candle is a great example of you can, rebirth is considered how do you arise in your next life? Well, you're a candle that has flame going, and there's the next body, and you light the candle, the next candle as your candle blows out, and there's energy that transfers, and the next candle continues, and then that burns out, and so there's energy transfers going back and forth.
That's another good analogy. Thank you.
Yeah.
David, I forgot who said this, but to put it really succinct and relatable, somebody answered, what gets reborn, and it's your bad habits. So I like that
Absolutely.
one. But as we see in this one, it can be good habits too, right?
That's right.
To make this more relatable too, because I can just kind of sense or people's response, oh, that's just a mythology, well, maybe. But like you think about a really specialized like physics field, like I have nothing about know nothing about like high level physics, but there's a lot of people in that field know a lot of highly specialized information that I can't really relate to, but I don't think it's illusion or not real, right? But they will do things within that field. Maybe they'll have some kind of great experiment, and the people in their political, that run different awards and stuff. Then they get boosted up through the ranks, and then people know more about them. And so, like, their actions and what they do and what's respected and merit within that field then often pays off, and maybe politics are involved too. But, so to me, that makes it really relatable. The other thing in the West, when I stayed at a Thai monastery in England, the giving of merit, it was just so commonplace. The Thai community, they just brought it all the time, and
Yeah.
we'd read the dedications before the Adi Modhanam, and it was just like they were really dedicated to their dead relatives, just day in, day out. And what I thought was so foreign, it just became so commonplace, day after day, seeing this and just the joy everybody had to giving and celebrating their dead. Well, I don't know how to put it, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to say that. And the other thing, and make this a me trip here, but with the in South Korea, and I wasn't familiar with Zen, but they were giving every meal, you gave a little bit of clean water. They'd pass around this bucket to the hungry ghost, right? And the head monk
Oh,
would often call, this needs to be clean. And so that was a minor point in there that I didn't know about, but he only wanted clean water,
wow.
for the hungry ghost. So it was incorporated into the meals
Interesting.
there. So that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, it said that the merit that you share, it goes back to not only the relative you're sharing with, but every relative that's ever happened before that. So that's I heard that and I was like, jeez, that's a lot of relatives going backwards.
Compounding, right? And there's that
Compounding.
sutta where they were being haunted, and the Buddha said, basically because you weren't giving merit to your relatives, right? And I had a friend passed, and it's basically said, this is helpful so your relatives don't attack you too. And that was kind of you're paying respect to them. So that paints it more in a negative light and a more preventative. But I like this notion. The way it's put in these suttas is way more uplifting for the heart instead of negative. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, thank you
Great.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and in that regard, Venerable Punadamo is an expert on all these realms, and he's written, a 500-page book, and he's going to be here in July talking about all those things, and I think that's going to be a fun retreat for everybody. You can listen to these talks. We're going to maybe do a few practices how we can contact these realms, and as well as you can do some TWIM practice and I'll be around, and Delson will be around to offer any interview advice as well. So um, it should be interesting. It'll be a different thing. Anybody else? A lot of information. Alrighty. Well, in any case, next week, Delson will be back. I think he'll be actually staying in California, and he'll be talking to us from near Sacramento, I think. And he's going to be doing another retreat November 7th. He starts a Zoom retreat, and he'll be working with some people on that. And then after that, go back to India. So let me share Merit here. All right. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, and petas and hungry ghosts share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So again, sharing merit, always sharing merit. And it's said that you can share your own merit, And there's no end to that merit. It just multiplies. You can't ever like when you share merit, you're not giving away all your merit. It's just making more merit. So, all right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Who knows what's going to happen next week? I don't know what the subject's going to be, but we'll be back to a sutta.